Ladies and gentlemen, first of all, I will just address that, yes, there was no video for Preston. I thought it a bit pointless me doing one, considering I didn't watch the game in any way. And also, I was going out, so I didn't really have time. That's the reason why, in case any of you who are in here, who are in here early are wondering. Okay. Owen, good evening. Jensen, how you doing? Benny, how we doing? Lee, hope all's good. Theo, hello. Lee says it'll be good if you have a striker on the pitch tomorrow. If I'm honest, I don't see him starting one. Gallagher, how's things? Part of the reason I don't see him starting one is because Connolly will play for the 21s instead, and Delap is still absent. Connolly was meant to play in the behind closed doors game they had last week against Grimsby. They arranged it for players like Connolly to get minutes and make up for what they've lost. But Connolly was injured for that as well. So it was a bit of a struggle for him. So he's going to get those minutes back a different way, and that's playing for the 21s at Ferriby against Fleetwood tomorrow, which, by the way, is disgusting. Which it's absolutely disgusting that they've scheduled another under-21s game for the same day that the first team game played. They did the same when we played Rotherham at the start in November as well. It's a shame, but it's what it is. I do not, Benny, I'm afraid. I don't know what the score was against Grimsby. Harley, how are you doing, mate? Up the Tigers. Jensen has lost his play time, whatever that means. Joe, can you cancel a membership with the supporter number and name? My mate's asked to add me as a friend on the City website. You can cancel a membership anytime, but I don't think that's what you're asking. You just need to give your mate to add on the friends and family on City's ticketing website. You just need to have your name, your supporter number, and your postcode. I don't think it's anything. I don't think you need to cancel it or anything like that. If we don't win, we're in a bit of bother. Well, I disagree with that, because we're still sixth with, 5 games undefeated. 6, I think it's 7. Is it 7 games out of 8 now that we're unbeaten? So we're not in a bit of bother. We won't be in a bit of bother if we lose it, because if we don't win, because we're still firmly in the race. Like if we only get a point, Norwich are still and Norwich win, they're still only 2 points ahead of us. So I don't think I don't quite get where you're coming from there. But yeah, as discussed, Connolly will not be involved tomorrow for the first team. He will be playing for the 21s at Ferriby, and Delap is still out injured. Let's move quick, shall we? Ref watch. Referee is Keith Stroud. PTSD, flashbacks to the opening day. 2 liners are Matthew Smith and James Wilson. The 4th official is Sam Allison, who's probably a better referee than Keith Stroud. Should we just keep going? We'll just keep going, shall we? Stats from the Preston game. Looked even. Relatively even. Looks as though if we had a striker on the pitch, it would have been a different story from what I've heard. So will Brasini play one? He hasn't done in the last few games. Had Sharp and Ohio on the bench in the last game. Failed to play either of them from the start. Only Sharp who came off the bench. Because with the team we have, we should be fighting for fifth alongside West Brom if we can, not avoiding 3 points at home to Birmingham and not picking up. You see, do we have a team that should be fighting for fifth? Yes, but does not winning tomorrow mean we're in trouble? No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. Greaves leap, superb. Greaves is he's come alive now, hasn't he? He's one of the best centre halves in the league now. Superb player now. I think that Preston point could be massive come the end of the season. It could very well be. It's still a point. Like, you've got to look at the West Brom and the Preston results as it's still a point against a team who were around. So they're not closed the gap. So it's still a positive result. Tom Meaves was more of a goal threat than City than Billy Sharp. Yes, agree. We're 3 points from fifth, so we need to be staying in the fight for fifth. It's between us and West Brom. It is 3 points to fifth, you're right. But we're still in the playoff hunt. We are still in the playoff hunt. And we will be in that hunt until the end of the season. Sharp's not had a proper chance yet. I disagree. 75 minutes against Norwich. He's started against... Who's he started against? He didn't start against Sunderland, but he started against... I'm getting my spreadsheet up. Who did Billy Sharp start against? So Sharp started against... He started against Birmingham in the replay. Didn't do a lot. Started 2 on the bounce against Rotherham and Huddersfield. Didn't do a lot. And in the 5 games he's come on, it hasn't been particularly inspiring. Give it up. I think if it was Coventry we got a point off, people would be more pleased because people don't like how Preston play. Good point. But equally, Preston are 2 points ahead of Coventry and 1 place ahead of Coventry. So it's still a good point. Lee, I agree with what Benny said. Give up. He's crap past it. Yeah. Don't even get me started about Billy Blunt. I think he could be our Paul Mullin. That's a very, very strange comparison, considering Paul Mullin is 10 years his junior and well, as of 2 seasons ago, scored 34 goals in a season for Cambridge. Then went to Wrexham, scored 32, 47, and has got 13 already in League Two. If we compare those last 3 seasons to Billy Sharp's last 3 seasons, so his last 3 seasons at Sheffield United, 5 goals, 15 goals, and 3 goals. The 5-goal season was in the Premier League. The 15 and the 3 were both in the Championship in 42 and 45 games, respectively, in those seasons. the last season in the Championship in which he got 20 goals plus was 5 years ago. In the MLS, he scored 6 in 6 for LA Galaxy, fair, and he's played 8 times in the Championship. 8 times for Hull City, 6 of those in the Championship, 2 of those in the FA Cup. Out of those 8 games, he started 3 of them and played 75 minutes in another and hasn't scored. He may be the top goal scorer in Championship history, but he's also 38, 39, and he's not done a lot. See, Jacob, it's nice to romanticise Billy Sharp scoring the winner in the playoff final, but it just won't happen. It just won't happen. Simple as. Do I think Ohio is a next season player? Absolutely not, considering he won't be here next year. Billy Sharp is washed. I'd put him there as one of the worst signings City have made this season. Good point. I think had we signed him 6-7 years ago, it'd have been superb for us. But he signed for us on the 1st of January 2024. And he hasn't hit the ground running. Bingo cards update from the start of the season. You know what? I'll do it at some point. And you know what I might do in the 3 weeks we've got without a game after the Leicester one, because Coventry was called off and moved because of the FA Cup. Don't know when to yet, and the international break. I will update them all, and we might do a live stream just because it's something to do during those times off. I'd rather throw Ryan Allsop up front than Billy Sharp at this point. At least Ryan can pass, even though they won't all be high. They won't be high. All I see in Billy Sharp is a waste of wages. Interesting. Head-to-head for Birmingham then is worth noting that this will be the 4th time we've played them this season. Will also be the 4th time we play them with different managers. It is a different caretaker to last time. And it is technically in the form of Mark Venus, their 5th caretaker, their 5th manager of the season. Of course, while Tony Mowbray is in hospital, their 2nd caretaker. There wasn't a caretaker between Eustace and Rooney. So in the last game, 4-2-3-1, Laird in goal. No, not Laird in goal. Ruddy in goal. Back 4 was Laird and Buchanan, the fullbacks. Sanderson and Awu were... No, Laird and Buchanan were the fullbacks. Sanderson and Awu were the centre-backs. The midfield was Pike and Dazelle, with the wide players being Miyoshi and Jordan James. Bakuna as the 10, behind Jay Stansfield. Ashley Coastal on the coaching staff there. So it's not too different a team to the one we faced in January. There's been no sort of major additions in there for me, apart from Dazelle and Pike, whatever. Sanderson missing tomorrow, so we might see a good point there, Craig. We might end up seeing, who else have they got as centre back? Who have I just seen? We might see Christian Bielik drop in there. Maybe, don't know. Who else have they played at centre back? There'll be a couple of others. Who else is there? They've got Alex Pritchard as well, haven't they? Forgot to sign him. Did they put a centre-back on the bench in the last game. They didn't. There's Matt Roberts, of course, still knocking about, so they've got a couple. Pritchard is going to be a threat if he starts. When we won at Sunderland, he was great, caused us all sorts of problems. Then he forced a move, and we'll talk about Sunderland when we look at the table in just a second. Current form, then, we shall start with the Brummies. We'll start with the Brummies, you know what I mean? You say with the Brummies, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Last 5 games. I'll stop that. It's the worst accent known to man, the Birmingham accent. Lost to Sheffield Wednesday 2-0, beat Blackburn 1-0, beat Sunderland 2-1, lost 3-1 to Ipswich, then lost 4-3 to Southampton in their last game. Us, as I discussed earlier, what is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 games, 7 unbeaten, only 1 defeat in that. Last 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Beat Rotherham, beat Huddersfield, beat Southampton, drew with West Brom and drew with Preston. And then we'll have a bit more of a deep dive into this week. Leicester, having lost what 4 games in 32, have lost their last 3 on the bounce, and we now kind of have a title race. 8 points, pretty much, give or take, split Leicester in first and Ipswich, Leeds, Southampton, whoever it would be in second for most of the season. Now, that same 8 points is first down to 4th. 5th downwards are still cut adrift of it, but we kind of have a title race on our hands now, it looks. Very, very quickly, Ipswich and Leeds, possibly Southampton as well, can have genuine title aspirations if Enzo Maresca's smooth sailing train since we beat them on the 2nd of September has it has faltered in their last 3. If we have a little glance at it, lost to QPR, lost to Middlesbrough, of course they lost to Leeds. That QPR loss at the weekend, no one saw it coming, and that's massive. That's a massive result for QPR because they've pulled it back now. All of this lot, genuinely. I keep saying every week, whatever, this team's safe, this team's safe. Genuinely now, it's still a possibility that the teams on 44 points here, Watford, Bristol City and Middlesbrough, could get sucked back into this battle at the bottom. It could quite simply be a case of the top half of the table all in the shout of playoffs, the bottom half of the table all still potentially getting relegated. So genuinely now, because of the way that Sheffield Wednesday and the rest of this pack, Stoke, Huddersfield, etc., have dragged themselves up the table in comparison to your Middlesbroughs, who've lost 4 out the last 5, your Bristol Cities, who've lost 3 out the last 5, your Watfords, who've lost 4 out the last 5, Cardiff, who have only won twice in their last 5, Sunderland lost 4 out the last 5. Yes, there's Rotherham, who have won 3 games all season. But that's honestly the way it looks. This 3-point chasm between Cardiff and Watford could be what separates. It could be what separates these 2 battles. You've got your Swanseas, your Middlesbroughs, your Bristol Cities, your Watfords, who are sort of in between 2 of having playoff aspirations and being wary of what's going on below. You've got your Swanseas and your Plymouths who are, you've got Plymouth, who everyone thought would be fine, but they're now only 1 point outside the relegation zone. And there are 5 teams on 38 points. What is it? 1, 2, 3, 4 teams on 38 points, 2 teams on 39, 1 on 35, who, apart from QPR, are in the best form of everyone down at the bottom, winning 4 out of 5. It's so tight. It's so tight at the bottom. It's unreal. It's unreal how week to week, when we look at this, we're saying, okay, these lot are probably safe. We're saying Plymouth and Blackburn have nothing to play for. All of a sudden, they're 1 and 2 points outside the relegation zone. Blackburn, who still have the top scorer in the division. Plymouth, who have the joint second top scorer in the division. It's unreal. It's absolutely unreal. This is peak championship. I think what we're looking at in terms of having nothing to play for now, Sunderland, I think, are out of it. 4 points is a big gap, especially when they're on a poor run. Coventry have fallen away. West Brom, Norwich, us, Preston don't look as though we're going to give anything away. So it's going to be a right old slog between these 5 teams. West Brom, us, Norwich, Preston and Coventry for those 2 playoff spots, I think, come the end as we head towards, we've got, after tomorrow, I think we've got, 10 games of the season left? Mental. Like Lee says, it's the best league in the world. Ethan, how you doing? Hard fought 1-0 tomorrow. Be like the Millwall game. I'll take it. If Leicester don't win in midweek, and we do, I think we'll beat them at the weekend. They're on a downward trajectory, and we'll see it as a chance to do the double over them. Absolutely. Let's go and do it. We'll have a look at who Leicester are facing now, actually, as we go to around the grounds on Championship Matchday 36. Coventry face Rotherham. All of these games and 7:45 unless stated otherwise. Coventry versus Rotherham. Sheffield Wednesday versus Plymouth. That's a big game down at the bottom. Sunderland v Leicester. Leicester should win that, the form Sunderland are in. Leeds versus Stoke. Hull City versus Birmingham. Blackburn versus Millwall is another massive game in the bottom half of the table. And then at 8:00, Ipswich face Bristol City. On Wednesday, Cardiff play Huddersfield Town. Middlesbrough face off against Norwich. Southampton versus Preston. Watford versus Swansea. And QPR versus West Brom. Come on, QPR. Do us a favour. They will be hoping, if we're us beating Birmingham as well, that we do them a favour. Okay, memorable match. COVID. 3-3 at St Andrews with no one there. McGuinness gave us the lead after 2 minutes. James Scott, after about 15, doubled it. After the break, we capitulated a bit. Gary Gardner, 2 minutes after the interval, made it 2-1. Then Dan Crowley, who would go on to play for Hull City the next season, made it 2-2 on the 60th minute mark. Herbie Kane scored his first of his 2 for City, 67th minute, and we couldn't hold on. Gary Gardner got his second, Birmingham's third, 2 minutes from time. Our team that day was George Long in goal. Back four, was Matthew Pennington at right back. My God. Reece Burke, Jody Device and Callum Elder. Device, the skipper that day. Midfield, Batty, Dan Batty, Leo Da Silva Lopez and Herbie Kane. Wilkes on the right, Scott on the left, Josh McGuinness up top. The bench. Matt Ingram in goal. Ryan Tafazzoli, Kevin Stewart, Tom Eaves, John Terrell, Angus McDonald, George Honeyman, Josh Bowler, and Keane Lewis Potter with Grant McCann in charge. Pep Clotet in charge of Birmingham. Oh my God, that is a throwback and a half. Our best forward of all time, James Scott, what a player. Find it so strange about Chair supposed to have been in prison but scoring for QPR. No comment. I think it's something to do with Belgium's or France's or whatever it was. I think it was in Belgium. I think it's something to do with their legal system being wired differently. You have to do a couple of different trials or something like that. I read something like that. I can't remember it fully, but yeah. Last time out, fairly recent. L'Aquilo scored, but L'Aquilo scored, and for what? 2-1 defeat to Birmingham in the FA Cup third round replay. Was not asked. Team, no one even cares. It's not even right on here. Why is Stan Ashby in centre mid and Harry Vaughan at left back? It was Matt Ingram in goal. Back four was Stan Ashby on debut at right back. Two centre halves, Andy Smith and Sean McLaughlin. James Furlong on debut at left back. Midfield was a midfield two of Doherty and Vaughan, I think it was. Syed Manesh and L'Aquilo, the wide players. Sellers, Fleming and Sharp up top. Bench, Lotta Tyler, the goalkeeper. Coyle, Greaves, Jones, Tufan, Morton, Slater and Nathan Tinsdale. Our record against Birmingham then. Last five. It's as mixed a bag as it could possibly be. Two wins, 2 defeats, and a draw. Lost 2-0 to them at our place, October 2022. Beat them 1-0 at their place, Oscar with a goal, December 2022. Beat them 2-0 in Wayne Rooney's first home game, October this season. Drew 1-1 in the FA Cup, lost 2-1 in the replay this year as well. Shared shirts, right. Ladies and gents, I have got a belter of a shared shirt. And when I say a belter, I mean, I honestly think you could be looking forever and you would still not get this one. It is superb. It is absolutely superb. To give you a hint, this player has the exact same record for both of these clubs. Same amount of appearances, same amount of goals. Was on loan at both teams. It's brilliant, this one. It's absolutely brilliant. It's not Dan Crowley. He wasn't on loan at Birmingham. He was only on loan to us. John Terrell played a lot more games for Birmingham over his 2 stints there than he did for us. Also, wasn't loaned to us either. It's not Josh McGuinness. I don't think Josh McGuinness played for Birmingham off the top of my head. He has not played for Birmingham. Tis not Josh McGuinness, and he is absolutely... He was never on loan to us. This is an absolute corker of a shared shirt. This is possibly my best one yet. Allsop, not on loan to us. Doesn't fit the bill. I'm going to put all of you out of your misery because this is superb. Drum rolls, please. Liam Walsh. This is possibly my best one ever. All right. Liam Walsh. This is so good. Was on loan at Birmingham from Everton, 2017-18 season. Played 3 times for them, didn't score. Signed for us under Shota Arveladze for the second half of the 21-22 season on loan from Swansea. Played 3 times for us, didn't score. How, 1, niche is this? 2, how mental is it that he's got the exact same record for both clubs? This is my best shared shirts yet. Nothing will top it. Absolutely nothing will top it. I'm so happy with this find. I am so happy with that find. It's unbelievable. I don't know how I keep coming up with these. I wonder who I honestly haven't looked for Leicester yet, but there's got to be some good ones. I'm going to have a quick look for Leicester for Leicester now. There's obviously Harry Maguire. Everyone knows that. Oh, there's some good ones here. Oh my God. Okay. I'm torn between 2. I'm not going to tell you who they are. I'm torn between 2. They're just... one of them is like... I think you'll have forgot he played for us. And the other is like... He's a cult hero of football, generally. So, I'm torn. I'll have to make that decision. Anyway... Predicted team. Allsop in goal. Back 4 unchanged. Coyle, Greaves, Jones, Giles. Midfield, Morton, Seri, Carvalho. Zaruri, Philogene. And up top, drumroll please, Ozan Tufan. I think Tufan deserves a start, and I think this is how we'll get it. On the bench, Panda, the goalkeeper, McLaughlin, Doherty, Ohio, Traore, Sharp, Slater, Jacob, and Abdush Amr. I think Tufan will come in. That's a guess. You've got to remember, this is only predicted. If it was up to me, I'd start Ohio. But it is only a prediction. It is only a prediction. Speaking of predictions, everyone. Nope, wrong one. Put your score predictions in the chat, please. Let's have a look. Traore should start. Traore should start. What? Will, you are the first person to say that since he played well against Preston or Plymouth at home. Can't remember which one it was. Anyway. Ian says 1-0. Will says 3-1. Ben says 3-1. Gallagher says 2-0. Lee says 3-1. Marsh says 3-1. Jensen says 2-0. I think we're back to winning ways. 2-0. 2-0 win. Goals. Philogene. Zaruri. Cool. That's who's scoring. Thank you for watching, everyone. See you tomorrow night, later on for the Matchday vlog. Take care. Up the Tigers. And goodbye.